Ball's kind of getting in the way. Fucking gravity.
Your tooth like is it's like a sword.
This is a one of those.
Is that a skewer?
Okay, it's a skewer that I cut so that I could put the olives on here. We
That's
could
for
see
like
other
kebabs,
toothpicks.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, so I believe my first question was the way too early to tell national champion of 2024. Back to the docket. Yeah.
Prediction?
Yeah, prediction. Who do you think is going to win it all? And then we'll go league by league.
I think UCLA is head, shoulders, feet, and fingers above everybody else. I mean, it is what it is.
That's not how that expression works.
It can be.
No.
And toes? You had to throw the toes in?
Yeah, toes was a weird one. So it was like, nah.
Back to fingers. Oh, man. I mean, they didn't lose anybody, really, right?
No.
I mean,
They lost Norris, but he was kind of in rotation. But they got Hirsch. They got Hirsch still.
They got Hirsch, so.
So obviously they're reloading. Duh.
Yeah, I mean, because you have David still on the. I mean, it's the same lefts.
It's the same.
It's just.
Anybody,
Libero.
I want to
got a
hear
Libero.
somebody that doesn't have UCLA winning it. Long Beach people, right? Hawaii people and Long Beach people.
Hawaii people are for sure they know UCLA is legit, but they're gonna have their high hopes. They still got some pieces.
I mean, sorry.
I mean, obviously, yeah, UCLA is the front runner, no doubt, in my eyes.
Whose
Volley
eyes?
Dork. How about your eyes?
They didn't lose anybody. They won last year.
That's usually a good recipe.
I really wish there was a hot take for this.
No.
Hot take. All right.
UCLA is still good.
Dang.
Nobody's gonna be like, "Hey, have you
Damn it,
seen that
Spra.
new podcast where they all rank UCLA number one?" This is amazing.
We need more clickbait, guys.
These guys are edgy.
Someone take a chance.
We have to listen to this.
All right, let's go to the league winners, please. League winners. Let's go league winners. We got MPSF. So we got you guys are going to go UCLA there. Sure, fine.
MIVA? Oh, Big West.
Yeah, let's go Big West. I think Big West is the most interesting, for sure. They've got the most depth, I believe. No, like, clear head and shoulders team above.
Who's setting for Long Beach this year? Knipe still?
Knipe, yeah.
I mean, I think Tread is good.
Hawaii Tread, yeah. Freshman.
And I think he'll be freshman of the year.
That's a later on question.
I don't care. I think he'll be freshman of the year, but I don't think that Long Beach has as many like stellar pieces. Maybe.
Yeah. They're super deep.
I like Voss more than you do.
Voss in the middle.
I like Voss a lot.
No, don't get me wrong.
You
I
think
like
Voss
Voss.
is-
Why do you hate Voss?
He doesn't think he's great.
Now the Hawaii fans are now going to listen just because I say
Hot take. You're welcome.
do not hate Voss.
I think Voss is very, very good. I think Voss is the type of middle that can take over a game. Matt thinks he's just like another middle.
I think he's a very good middle. I think Merrick McHenry is a middle that can take over a game. Like,
Okay.
across the board.
I think Merrick
And
McHenry
his
should
serve.
be
His serve is
in
legit.
contention for Player of the Year.
Yeah, I think Merrick's would be my top middle. But what I'm going to for Big West, God, I like Irvine has so much. I'm very interested in Irvine, and I love Niff, but Niff will always do some weird stuff with his lineups, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But if he can string it together at the right time at the end, I could totally see Irvine winning the tournament.
Did you watch any of the Georgia Mason?
I did. Hillier is legit. It looked like a Hillier show. He was playing around with a bunch of different stuff. So he had Flexen, who transferred from Masters on the left, on the right, and in the middle.
Yeah.
He literally played all three positions. So they really, you could tell they want to get him on the floor because he's big. They had Max, the NorCal boy, was playing on the right and was pretty decently effective. Connor Dom, our Beta Bay boy, they kind of used him. They started him in the middle. They'd back rotate him. He'd serve first. They'd sub him out for a middle, and then they'd bring him back in at the end. So he ended actually playing middle at the end of some sets because they were doing this some creative Niff stuff, but they did end up losing that match to George Mason. So I'm interested to see on Irvine if they can like progress because they've got some interesting pieces.
I think NIFT is just like picturing giving a speech on like why weird shit works. Because if you commit to weird shit for long enough, it's going to work at some point.
People figure it out. Just
I
like,
mean,
hey,
I love the idea of like people who can do everything to a certain point. And by a certain point, I mean like right after 18 open, we don't do that anymore. And like setters play setter and middles play middle and outsides play outside. And
he's just looking for all-around volleyball players.
Yes.
Right, yeah. I mean, that showed in what he did last
and I
night.
think that there are very few players that can do stuff like that. Like Micah is not Micah. Micah Ma is one of them that can like you can hit and set and like we have to use you at both things because you're that good at it. Whatever.
Micah Christensen was the same way.
But like there are such few players like that, and I don't think that like every middle should be a setter and every setter should be a middle. Personally, it's just my personal opinion.
I'm gonna go with Irvine. That's my Big West pick.
Good for you.
They're gonna start off slow and weird, and they're gonna finish strong.
I think they have the best player in the Big West.
Who? Hillier?
Yes.
I like Long Beach.
Long Beach. That's the steady answer.
Yeah, I mean, just so deep, returning a lot of the same guys. I mean, they need to set the ball better. They need to hit the ball on the right side better. But like lefts and middles were strong for them. Mason will be good in the back. I think Irvine probably does too much weird stuff, but it's one of those teams where like if they get hot at the right time, like last year, like great, like they should be in the tournament kind of conversation. And then
who's hosting this year?
Great, that's a great question.
I feel like it's Hawaii. I think it's Hawaii.
I have no idea.
Which immediately gives Hawaii an advantage there.
Great, I'm picking Hawaii.
We have our first hot take.
Actually, yeah.
I think Hawaii is
classic
actually,
equation.
Yeah, home court advantage to win Big West is big. Yeah, for sure.
Surprised they're doing that.
All three teams. It's because they make money. Hawaii actually makes money hosting, whereas no one else does. And they pay for everyone to come out there.
And that's the thing, right? Like, I guess if they're fine doing that,
yeah.
I mean, it's the reason like we don't hold anything fun in any fun location ever in volleyball because there's no money. But I guess
I don't want to pick Hawaii.
You don't have to.
I don't like it.
You want to trade picks?
Feel right.
You want to trade picks? You want to do Irvine? I'll go Hawaii.
No, pick your own pick.
Speak your own truth.
I want Irvine to win. I think Long Beach is going to win, and I
need Hawaii to win.
Yes.
Sponsor me, Outrigger.
Yeah. That's where I stand.
All right, MIVA.
MIVA? I want McKendry to win.
Yeah, don't we all?
Love that.
Well, we want Nikki to win is what we want. Like, let's be clear.
Yeah.
How many McKendry matches are you going to watch this year?
One.
Can we get
two?
Let's get Nikki on the pod. I think Nikki needs to come on the pod.
Probably. We have a pretty, full sheet of guests lined up, so we'll probably squeeze her on, though.
After watching Loyola this weekend, I think Ohio State is going to win the MIVA.
Why?
Rough.
Why?
Because
let's double click on this.
Love to.
I mean, I don't know. I didn't think Parker looked super great this weekend. But I also, the Hawaii win was a good win for them, but I think that they've got like a little bit of a lot of decision making that needs to happen. I think Ohio State has the best player in the MIVA.
With their outside pass.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at. I want Loyola to win. I think Ohio State's going to win.
I'm going to go with Ohio State as well. I think Loyola has a lot of pieces. Like seeing them this weekend play Hawaii, huge win for them in Hawaii. They were obviously banged up when they came to us at Stanford.
Yeah.
And still on night 2, were able the left that they brought in against us, he was darn good. Their setters were ripping serves. The freshmen were a little bit more up and down against us than they were against Hawaii. But they certainly seems like they've got enough firepower to be able to string it together. And I didn't mind, like, night 1 against Stanford. It was most of a completely different lineup from Hawaii. Yeah. So it was a very, like, full switch and seemed like there was a little bit of, number one, just kind of load management. Mason Defunga was not happy. He wanted to see LeBron, a.k.a. Parker Van Buren, in the game. And he paid for his ticket, which was free. And he came all that way, and he wanted to see Parker. And Parker was on the bench. He was not happy. So I didn't mind what Hawks did on that one, and it was close. If they would have split Hawaii and split Stanford, that would have been a great weekend for them. And they almost did it. But I think it's going to be a long road, and all they got to do is be able to beat Ohio State at the end.
Or McKendree in the quarters.
True, yeah.
Or McKendree in the finals. Let's go, Nikki.
True.
on.
Is that who knocked him out last year?
McKendree beat him in the quarters. Yeah.
They've kind of had their number.
How's Lewis this year?
They went to 5 with Penn State in their first weekend matchup. So I'm sure they'll have something to say about it for sure.
Yeah, I don't.
They're kind of the Irvine of the MIVA. I feel like if they get hot,
they get
hot at the end.
Comparison.
They're not going to be. I don't think they're going to be head and shoulders above anyone, but they could figure it out at the end and work their way into the tournament.
I love that. Lewis is the Irvine of the MIVA.
Lewis just has more attitude than Irvine, though, like in a great way for any Lewis people that end up watching this. I like the Lewis attitude. They got gritty kids.
Grittiest team in the country.
It's for another episode. Chad, we need Chad's MIVA prediction first.
Meatiest dog in this garage, Coach Jackson. Just trying.
That's
to make
one problem of the camera. We can't get Jackson on film.
Yeah, we just need
we need a camera up here.
I figured you would have had one. For you making TikToks and stuff.
We've got 3 angles.
Yeah, I think MIVA. I mean, I'd like to take Loyola or McKendree. I think it's probably Ohio State. I don't know. I mean, I know Hawks it's a really tough schedule that they started, for the first month, basically, right? Because it's BYU and then UCLA.
Yep.
Dog, come on, it's my turn to talk. Go away. But yeah, I mean, Peshawar is pretty impressive, and I just don't know who's going to be able to kind of get in their way.
No,
but I don't know. I like to think Birch figures it out for that team this year.
And they didn't really lose anyone that I can remember.
Not that I can think.
Pretty much all their main pieces are back, at least offensively.
Yeah. So I mean, is it Wessel who's on the right?
Yeah.
It's a Florida guy.
Yeah.
Is that who that is? Yeah. So I mean, they got the pieces.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Is there anyone that challenges Penn State in the EIVA?
Or if we get into about Ball State too.
Ball State in the MIVA, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't watch a lot of Ball State.
They got their pin is legit. I'm blanking on his name. Genesis. Caleb Genesis. There you go. Yeah, he's legit.
I thought he graduated. Isn't he done?
Did he graduate?
I don't know.
We can cut this. I'm pretty sure he graduated.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But he was legit. Shout out to that guy.
I think
Hope you're doing well.
I think Donan was good coming in like right away. But
we're sleeping on Ball State.
Yeah, I don't know where if they like picked up any freshmen or I don't really remember.
Yeah. Stanford plays them in 2 weeks.
Where?
You'll know.
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Hope
We're
you love
going.
that.
So that'll be. I'll get the
We're
scouting
going.
report.
We're all going.
We're all going.
We're all going. Should we film in
podcast on the road?
Podcast in Texas. There we go.
We're taking it on the road. That's so quick. We're filming our first episode. We're already going on the road.
Show notes. We need to find out about Ball State. But all right, on to the EIVA.
Wait, hold on. Can we talk about the grittiest team really quick?
Sure. Who do you
think the grittiest team in the country is?
Hashtag LB Grit.
No, that can't be your answer. It's not allowed to be your answer because they are self-proclaimed as the grittiest team.
But Long Beach.
Are they though?
Is Nick McRae. Nick McRae is the grittiest guy I know.
You can't say boom really loud and be the grittiest person you know.
It's not boom allowed. Baby.
No, you're not allowed
boom
to be.
Baby.
Nope.
We love you, Nick. This is not shit talk.
Actual grittiest team. You can hear Jackson drinking his water in the background of this.
Actual grittiest team. First thought that comes to head. Guys, just one beer. One beer, I promise.
First thought that comes to head.
He's really nervous, guys.
Put that on the idioms that I mess up.
It's not an idiom. Just talking.
Those are actually normal words.
Words are just hard. All right. First thought that comes to my mind. Thank you, you jerks. I'm gonna go Grand Canyon.
Oh, I like that answer.
Go Grand Canyon.
I love that answer just because you think that
Hickman.
Hickman.
I just
Hickman's
love
great.
watching Jackson
Yeah,
Hickman.
yeah.
That dude just wants to fight everyone.
For
and
sure.
I love it.
Yeah. Grittiest player in the country, Hickman.
Yeah. A great name for it too.
Great name.
And Worley.
Really, yeah, that's fair. Man,
I like that.
I would have really picked like if you talk about like last year, like as we kind of work our way into this year. But I thought Penn State last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's just like
Cole Bogner was
like
gritty.
that crew that had been Jackson.
Mhm.
I'm trying to talk about Pennsylvania State University. I mean that crew that had been together for a number of years, right, and like just gone to battle a bunch. Like that was cool to see them play some really tough matches.
Yeah,
in the season
for sure. Yeah, them at Hawaii, them UCLA. Cole Bogner was my favorite setter last year. Might have been my favorite player to watch when we played them in Texas. I was like, this guy's impressive.
Yeah.
He was fully in charge, and he was undersized and did a lot of great things. I like that. It's a good pick. It's not this year, but still, we'll allow it.
Adjacent.
Yeah, well, if we're talking historically, like Lewis has to be up there, but I wouldn't say Lewis is like the grittiest team right now.
If you pick Long Beach, I'm gonna be so mad at you.
That's a dirtbag move right there.
No, I don't think it's Long Beach.
Well, that's a good
Okay,
joke.
what do you got?
Long Beach baseball.
Grittiest team right now.
Can I give my secondary answer? CSUN.
Oh,
CSUN, gritty.
Don't hate that.
You know what I like about
up with that?
You know what I like about CSUN?
You're right.
A lot of foreigners.
They find a lot of guys where it's like they're not the highest recruited player.
Donovan, gritty kid.
Yeah,
like,
Donovan
gritty
setter
kid.
for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Undersized, but like
totally
plays with a chip on his shoulder, grinder, and does a ton of really good things.
Yep.
Is not what you would picture as like the best player in that position, but constantly plays at a level that is
honestly, the Grand Canyon kid is just like that. Who's their setter?
Nick Slight. Yeah,
that kid is like the same as Donovan. Like just same type of kid, like undersized setter, but just gritty.
Yeah,
like total gamer. Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Slight's a good representative of the grit award. Yeah, but CSUN, I like them. I like what they do. They grind out a lot of games.
Good answers.
Also, Stanford, we've struggled against CSUN the past couple of years, so we gotta find a way to beat the gritty.
I like those answers.
Stop getting aced against Northridge.
That's a good idea.
Or hope they miss their serves. I know Jones has his, here. Over under 42 and a half missed serves tonight.
Alex Jones' over under on missed serves is hilarious.
Surprisingly accurate.
He's
setting lines.
He's setting a great line.
Yeah.
So accurate.
Because it feels like a lot, and then somehow it's like, no, we went to a 4-set. 47 missed serves.
There was one UCLA game that we were at, and it was like the line was at 42 and a half, and it was at like 45 or something crazy.
No, he has a gift. That's for sure.
Okay, where are we at?
We still need EIVA.
Oh.
I'm going Penn State, but George Mason seems to have a group that can.
I'm not taking Mason.
Can do it.
I'd be interested to see how Pav reloads with Penn State.
Yeah.
I do like. I mean, I watched a little bit of that Irvine one, and just like Mason was playing fast and like had some dudes with arms, and then we were like playing some off speed and like had kind of, I don't know, modernized a little bit compared to what I would think of, I guess. So that was kind of interesting, and obviously a nice win over Irvine.
They were up 2-0.
They were ripping serves against Irvine.
They were up 2-0 on Santa Barbara, and then they lost it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They were up 2-0 in like convincing 2-0.
Yeah.
And then
Joe
Santa
Wallace
Barbara
stepped on the court, and
that must have been
it. Was
it.
on the court for
definitely
his first show as well.
I'll take George Mason.
I like that.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I'll do it.
I can see that totally. It's one of those ones where it's like
I just don't know what Penn State has right now.
What does Princeton have?
Princeton. Forgot about Princeton.
Sebastian.
No.
They got
in 2 years.
Princeton's
worth it.
Princeton has some players for sure. For sure.
Who do they have? Who does Harvard have right now?
Brian Thomas. Maybe.
Brian Thomas, obviously.
Yeah. OH1.
People are gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh, the Beta Bay coaches are all talking about the Beta Bay kids." And
it's the only kid on Harvard I can name.
Weird.
I could see Princeton being in there, for sure.
Who do they have?
They've got. I'm blanking on names right now.
Do they have any fifth years, or did all of those kids graduate from that group?
That I do not know.
Because if they have fifth years, then they've got the kid from Carolina UVC.
I don't know if he's still there. I know Wedbush is.
Awesome.
I know Wedbush is setting. I'm pulling it
Okay.
up. Wedbush setting. They've got the old MB Surf middle who had a really good freshman year.
People are also going to listen to this and be like, can they do their research before they talk?
No, it's our first episode. Shut the hell up.
Cut us some slack. Just want to drink a beer.
Volleyball started like 2 days ago.
Yeah,
Nero.
Nero's legit.
I feel like we have it all the time with Princeton though, right? Of like, oh man, like the roster's like pretty strong.
Hartley. That's what I was talking
Yeah,
about.
Hartley's still on there.
But,
Hartley's good.
They aren't like
Ryan
they aren't
Vina.
knocking on the
Yeah.
door. Like is
Yeah,
kind of my
I think they're
my
close. They're probably top 3. I'd probably
yeah.
slate Mason as the 2 and Penn State as the 1.
with our massive sample size.
Just because
Yeah.
we've seen Mason and
George
haven't
Mason
seen.
to the moon.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, that's a full California swing. That was a lot of matches for them in a row, and to be able to sneak out a pretty good one against Irvine.
Mason
It's
always-
big.
whatever.
And they could have gone Santa Barbara, Irvine, and they beat Northridge, but lost to I forget who they beat. San
You
Diego.
can make it up because I'm not going to know.
That's fair.
Okay.
Could have been a great weekend.
Okay, predictions for Player of the Year.
Ooh, okay.
No respect for the Carolinas. I respect that. Disrespect.
True.
Name the Carolinas. North Carolina.
South
South
Carolina.
Carolina.
What kind of question is that? It was easier than I think you thought
Yeah,
it was.
that's all.
Sweet Carolina.
No.
No
Okay.
No one's going
All
to
right,
listen to this.
Chad.
Okay,
Chad,
player
start
of
us
the
off.
year.
Player of the year. Who you got?
Oh man. Do they decide player of the year before the NCAA semifinals? must,
I know
right?
what they do in the women's game. I don't know what they do in the men's game.
Good question.
In the women's game, they
I wanna
meet,
say-
they come up with it. Then the semifinals happens, and then the player of the year is the next morning. And if something crazy happens that night, they all meet again in the morning, and then
Let's just say they decide it before the semifinals. That way, it's not like you have to reach the finals.
Yeah, okay, so it's not like a winner kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing. It's going to be somebody from UCLA, and I think it's got to be Rowan because everybody else is just such an equal slice of that pie. Like, you can undersell like Knight and Champlin and these guys, but like they do their role really, really well,
Yeah.
right? And so Rowan really facilitates that, and is obviously the one touching the ball the most. So I think he's going to naturally
Yeah.
get looked at for that award. So that would be my pick right now.
Good pick.
Great pick.
I think that is. If Jones was here setting odds in Vegas, I think Rowan would have the best odds.
I think it's fair. The reason I asked about the semis is like if Irvine does push, Heno could be that guy because that guy's ceiling is pretty stupid. He's always bigger than I think he's gonna be. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, he's got to be 6'4". He's like, no, it's like 6'7", 6'8". Like he's
Yeah.
a big guy.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
Probably the best serve in the country.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Who you got?
first off, Keone's serve is the best serve in the country. But
No.
Incorrect.
No, Keone's serve might be the fastest, but Heno's is the most
Heno's is
consistent, and that lefty spin and his ability to change depth is
It's
ridiculous.
very good, you're right.
It's ridiculous.
you want me to go?
Yeah, you're up.
Would you like to go last?
Rotman, done.
Which one?
Player of the year.
Alex,
The-
Will, Dave,
The-
Steve,
Dave.
Danny.
Dave Robin. Danny
Dave,
Robin.
Dave Rodman, player of the year.
He's overdue.
Will Robin, player of the year.
Okay, dark horse pick for player of the year. I like that. Hype up my book. Hype up my Stanford guys. I can see it.
Stanford
Okay.
gets an at-large and wins to get into the Final Four. And Rotman gets player of the year.
Okay. You heard it here first.
If
Oh,
UCLA does something stupid this year. Like, UCLA's got to not be undefeated going into it. Obviously, Rowan is the top, contender in it. But if UCLA has, a blunder game and a half,
okay.
then if Stanford can get into the Final Four, I think Robin gets player of the year because he's going to be the one to do it.
Okay. I like that. Chad hinted at mine. Heno. I'm going Heno. I think he's the serve, attack, pass. He's the dude for Irvine. If Irvine figures it out, I think they can go far. Statistically speaking, if we're gonna volley dork it, his serve is probably the biggest plus minus across the NCAA in any capacity. You just need him at the service line as many times as you possibly can get, and it's not like I think Keone's serve is ridiculous as well, but it's not just a grip it and rip it, ace or miss. It is consistent pressure, and he will move it around so well. And then they run him out of the back row almost immediately every single time they get a transition, and he scores.
Crazy.
So I'm going Heno. Heno for Player of the Year.
I like Heno.
I also love Rotman. It's a great pick. All right, what's next on our docket here? Freshman of the Year. Ariel already hinted at it, so you can start us off. Let's reconfirm there.
I got Tread as Freshman of the Year. I think that he's going to get the shot to lead Hawaii, and they have a likely chance of getting in. Mm-hmm. And as a freshman, to do that, I don't know if any other freshman. Name some.
I didn't watch much 18s. I mean, coaching 17s, like we didn't overlap. So
Jake Reed looked pretty good this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I got Tread over Showbowl, and who else? Who are we missing? Like,
Blanchett came out earlier.
Yeah,
oh,
so
sure.
that was the one that I was gonna say. The other player that could, I
All
think Tread
setters.
is already kind of established as the guy. I don't know if Blanchett's fully established. We haven't really seen. They kind of ran a couple different lineups in their first round matches against the HBCUs.
What about attackers?
But
like,
yeah, I'm not sure. But Blanchett was the guy I was gonna say as kind of the other pick. I think if he's the guy for USC and USC has a decent year, that will be a huge piece. A huge piece for that team, no doubt. Chad, do you have a pick for Freshman of the Year?
I mean, I agree. I mean, Tread's probably in the best position to do that.
Yeah.
Coupled with the fact that I can't name any others.
There's a freshman we're definitely forgetting.
I'm sure
that's gonna have a breakout year.
I'm sure there's a kid who's not a Balboa guy or something that was in gold, was all world, and we're just not
like a wave kid or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like Wes Smith or something like that.
Oh,
there you go. You're welcome, viewers. Yeah. There it is.
Wes Smith, that's a good call.
Like a wave kid.
That is
like Wes Smith. Perfect.
He seems to be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'll take Wes, man.
Yeah, that's a
good
great
pick,
one.
Good pick.
I'm not taking USC, but I'll take Wes.
Yeah.
I know he was banged up all through 18's year. If he can stay healthy, for sure, he's gonna get a lot of chances as well.
That was a great
Sorry.
spiral of.
Okay, we figured it out. Nice
We
work,
did,
everyone.
yeah.
Good job.
Scenic route, but we got there.
Before we move on, do you need to make another martini?
No.
All right, great. All right,
It's Wednesday.
next on the
I
docket.
can slowly go into this. We have a whole weekend of drinking we're about to embark on.
The next
Okay.
question. Prediction for most improved team. Most improved team. Who do we have?
I'll go first. I think it's going to be Stanford.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Same.
You want to go first?
No drama here. I agree.
Just watching.
To the moon.
A Doc's gone, so obviously big improvement.
Yeah. Addition by subtraction, Doc.
I'm not even going to go anywhere near that, obviously.
Just kidding, Doc. We love you.
Just kidding. Completely just kidding.
Addition by subtraction for us because then we added
We
you
got
to
Doc,
us.
and we love that.
Ipso facto. No, I mean, just like how fast they were playing, just how things seemed to kind of it just seemed more balanced and just better. I don't know, like good vibe and
It was spread, yeah.
and little 6-2 action in there. DeRoss getting in there to serve a little bit. No, it was good. And then you have Will, Alex, and Lamp right to go for those two spots. So it's pretty deadly.
Yep.
It's a good problem to have.
Yep. There's some. We got some depth. We've got some options, and the boys are they're playing well. I think Litsky's doing a really good job. It's our ability to be consistent throughout the course of the season. That's the thing we've got to continue to prove. But I could certainly see ourselves in that category, not making the tournament the past couple of years, being close. I like that. Ariel, do you have a pick beyond Stanford?
Beyond Stanford, a most improved team,
Mm-hmm.
Irvine. maybe.
Okay, they're kind of the same boat.
Yeah,
as the
actually,
Stanford.
I don't
It's
know.
pretty strong
I
team
don't know
last
if
year,
you.
too.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you can say Irvine with the loss of
Sani.
Sani.
Oh man, so I mean, if they had Sani,
that's
then
such a tough loss. Like Stanford didn't lose anybody that big, so like you can't say Irvine.
I could see USC being much improved with
Sure.
what they have.
USC or Grand Canyon. I mean, Grand Canyon was good last year, but Grand Canyon's looking.
Well, I mean,
like,
Grand Canyon was the tournament team last year, for sure. But they still have Gianni.
What does improved mean? Does improved mean makes the tournament that didn't last year?
I just mean biggest jump from where they were at last year.
There's probably some South Carolina's probably.
Charleston, let's ride.
Something in the Carolinas is probably making improvements, right?
For sure.
Or George Mason.
Honestly, yeah.
Ah, that's a
Honestly,
good
George,
one, maybe.
George Mason, yeah, that was where my head was gonna go.
Are we just angling to get on his podcast, or like what's going on here?
Does he have one?
Yeah, he's on.
Who?
Like, well, like he's on with like,
Kosak?
yeah, but he's on with like Sparrow
Yeah,
and those
Rob
guys.
on the mic.
Oh, really?
I mean, Dan's on all the time.
I don't watch it.
Theo's on it quite a bit.
Just like nobody's gonna watch ours, so it's fine.
It's great.
We're just shouting into the abyss.
They just need to drink more beers on theirs.
yeah.
Problem solved.
George Mason, I like that pick. I'm gonna
Sure.
go with USC. I think USC is gonna be much improved.
It'd be unfortunate for
from
Stanford.
from where they were last year. No, I think that'll be a good battle. I think the MPSF is actually very strong. Big West is currently has more like high rankings, but honestly, Big West did not have a great starting weekend in comparison.
It's fair.
Right? Hawaii loses one to Loyola. Irvine
Yeah.
loses to George Mason. I think that's going to even out a little bit come next rankings. But I do think the MPSF is actually just as strong as the Big West right now. BYU's is going to be legit still. Grand Canyon lost one of their pins, but they still have the majority of that core.
And they
USC
got Flexen.
Not
Not Flexen.
No.
Flexen went to Irvine.
Jared
They got-
Anderson.
I mean,
Eagles fly.
He got
I
a
don't
little
wanna
bit
throw out
of
anything,
time.
but
He got
yeah.
a little bit of time,
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see if he played or not.
like at the end of the third.
Yeah, I think they kept it because Gianni's still on the right for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the MPSF is going to be pretty well
I
loaded.
think there's UCLA. There's like a midsection of everybody else.
UCLA is a juggernaut. Then there's a selection of contenders. I'd say there's a selection of like
What does contenders mean, though?
tournament teams.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like for sure contending to be in the tournament. Yeah, and then there's a couple tiers there. We'll make a tier ranking of
On the whiteboard?
of something like that. I'll go with I'm gonna go with USC. That's gonna be my pick
That's a good pick.
for most improved.
USC.
USC for most improved.
Predictions for biggest loser of 2024.
Biggest loser.
Yeah, what do you mean? by
Not
this again?
teams.
This was- yeah.
Wait, in parentheses, not teams, but a concept.
Yes, and then
I love that.
I had a specific. I'll lead off because I had a specific thought. We're not here to bash teams.
We love bashing teams.
Couple
Sure,
teams.
we may love it, but we're not going to record it. We're not here to broadcast this bashing teams.
We're not sure yet.
You guys ready for my
We're trying to
concept? Biggest loser. This is something that pissed me off last year. Video challenge. Biggest loser of the 2024 season. The video challenge is killing me. It takes 140 seconds minimum
okay.
to
It's
review.
really specific.
Yeah, it is. But
Talk about talking shit. The Stanford video review is the most egregious thing. It is double the amount of time than every other
It
school.
takes like 7 minutes to
It's
try and do a challenge.
unbelievable.
It's
I
insane.
timed it last year, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, what are they playing this on?"
But that is not the only that happens all the time. So video review, that's my biggest loser. We gotta find a better way. We gotta find a better way for video review. There needs to be like a time limit. Like, all right, 120
Yeah, I
seconds
agree with that.
is it. That's all you
Wasn't
get
definitive
to review.
within 60 seconds.
Yeah,
Obviously,
exactly.
it wasn't clear enough.
Then we're
Sorry.
done. Then we're done.
I can
but,
buy that concept.
But thus far, it's been literally they review you challenge. They review the entire play. That's what they do. They go through and they're looking at
That's
every single little
so-
part,
That doesn't make
and
any
it
sense.
takes forever. So that's my biggest loser. We got to find better ways for video review.
I mean, I don't know what's out there that's cheap enough.
I know.
Right? I mean,
That's why that's why I like the time limits. Like, tell me exactly where I need to be looking, and I'm gonna look for that. Try and spend my time on that exact point.
Is it a net positive at all? Like, or would you just get rid of it in its current form?
I wouldn't get rid of it. I think video. There's this there's a need to be able to challenge. I think that is good, but
Okay. But
we can't spend 7 minutes. Like literally last year, we were
recorded it.
taking the average time.
I think that it was like 6.5 minutes that I recorded and then showed it to John, and we all were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. They did add in a new rule this year. You only get 8 seconds to challenge. So when the play is over, whistle blows 8 seconds, because there was issues at like BYU or Hawaii where coaches just look up to the screen and like wait for the replay and then challenge before the serve. So they added that in.
Have you seen the video of my dad throwing the challenge card? No. There's a video of my dad, and you
like
see
Ninja Star somebody, or
during the like right when the whistle blows, you see this card in the film like go up, and it accidentally like took wind and like went up and over the net and like flew onto the other side, and then he got a card for throwing.
And then it got stuck in someone's neck.
It was.
That's where I thought we were going, and I was like, I'm here for that one.
It was.
Give me that version.
I'll send you the video of it. It's so funny.
Prediction for the newest trend in men's volleyball this season.
The late 6-2. I like the late 6-2.
Honestly, was one of the things that I thought about as well.
Mm-hmm.
Seen it in a couple settings. There seems to be some pretty good depth in a couple teams that have the ability to do it. You get those 3 front row attackers. You get in a little bit of a different. The thing that I like about it from Stanford perspective, you get that serve too. Like especially when your setter has a better serve. Don't get me wrong, Moses' serve can be effective, but T's got a better serve on the jump serve. So like being able to switch that is pretty nice.
So you're saying death to the D ball. Is that what we're implying?
Depends on what your team you are.
Yeah, I don't think men's volleyball can be death to the D ball because of the international sub rule.
Because of people like Parker, and you can't. But if you have a team that
you just don't have enough subs. You don't have enough subs to do it. You have to have it.
The late 6-2 is interesting for a team that has a medium right side, or like somebody who isn't super defensive at all, or some like there's some holes there. Like you're able to cover some things up with the 6-2.
Yeah,
it's a little sketchy on the rhythm, but I don't mind it.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on who your team is.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see more creativity offensively, maybe defensively. I don't know what that would mean necessarily. Because like I'm already seeing like, so Brinkley and Static joined NIF staff, right?
Yep.
And so the Georgia Mason match I pulled up, Power is already like sliding into the, like basically like 5'6", like dead center almost. The same crap that Brinkley was doing.
Yep.
They're just taking the line and he's like playing middle back.
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be more of that, but offensively, I think you'll see more routes that look the same, but have different endpoints, right? So like you see it with like pop and float stuff with the middles, but the same way that like RPOs in football or something of just like, hey, look, it all looks like this, and then I get to make a decision, or, I don't know, like quarterback keep, like I can hand it or I can take it, like that kind of stuff of just like, all right, I can decide, am I going to be here or am I going to be there? And I mean, blockers just don't.
Yeah.
You're just outmatched, right?
Yeah.
And so at some point, using the football metaphor, right, like the receiver knows where the receiver's trying to run to. The cornerback doesn't, and they're always going to play catch up, right? So if you can show them something that, and maybe this is almost cyclical in volleyball, right? Because like we used to have like a swing hitter, right? Like you pass middle and like, do I hit left or I hit right? I don't know. We'll see. And maybe it's kind of just like a trend that just comes back to the forefront. Maybe not swing hitter, but like just that idea.
It's like bell bottoms.
I'd love to see a swing hitter.
Sure, it's like disco and all that kind of stuff. Vintage is cool. Who knows?
I don't think that.
I like that.
I don't think that this is a trend for this year, but it's a trend of the last couple of years. Is the undersized setters just become more of a trend? Like people don't really. There are some coaches that don't look for the size anymore. They don't care.
Yeah,
like it's
just like the big setter used to be it's like I'll take the biggest setter I can get.
And then that didn't work out for some of the big setters or some of the teams, and I think the undersized setter has been a trend over the last half a decade.
Yeah, certainly undersized setter that just locates and is a gamer. Plays volleyball well. May not be the best blocker, may not be the most offensive, but like can get it all done, certainly makes sense.
Is that the end of the Volleyball era then? Right?
Yeah, it's
you have coaches that grew up kind of in that era.
Right.
It's like, hey, this is a big guy.
Give me the biggest dude possible.
Biggest lefty setter that you can find.
Yeah.
Just tallest dude that can clog up the right side.
And now it's just like, what's the super athletic kid that can kind of jump, but like jump well enough. And
I mean, even like the Joe Carloses, right?
Right.
It's like, hey, I'm just gonna wheel and deal.
Yep.
Yeah, Irvine's the perfect example of it right now. Sherwood, Carlos.
Yeah.
Even last year with Dylan's eye, like just undersized setters that kind of just can fling the ball around. For sure.
There's a lot of undersized setters.
Yeah.
Well, there are just not that many like 6'8" humans, let alone people that, hey, the coach decided to make me a setter when I was 14, not outside or middle or whatever.
Yep.
Right? So,
Yep. Totally. I'm going with one that we've already somewhat hinted at, and I think it will become a trend this year. But it is the serving sub starting on, subbed out, coming back late.
Who started with
So we talked about it with Niff and Irvine. He had Connor Dom start in, and Connor played middle and outside in club, so he like has experience with it. But he has a good serve, and so he starts him as the first server, or starts him as like if they back rotate, he starts on as a middle, and then he'll back rotate to serve, and then they'll use him again at the end of a set to get another round. Just knowing men's volleyball wise how important the ability to get your best servers back to the line more often than not. I think that's going to become more of a trend. I've seen Charlie do it as well.
Hawaii did it with Keone.
Yeah, Charlie's done it as well for Hawaii. I think that's something we'll see more of, is just creative ways to maximize the subs that you do get. You're able to get another half rotation, but it's risky, right? Like just like we saw with Irvine. Connor goes in to serve. They go into a deuce game. He gets front row. He's now playing middle blocker at the end of the fourth set, right? So it's a little bit of a risk, but I think the reward is there if you have a server that truly makes sense. Keone being one of them. That could be a trend that for sure continues on.
Jackson.
Do you have a closing that you'd like to throw in there? We can cut all.
Should we pray?
This podcast is brought to you by Athletic Greens. Cue the music. Here we go.
No.
There you go. Listen to that. We got the music queued up, and you're the only one that hears it right now. Chad and I have no idea. It's just this random music built into the soundbar. Someone that's a listener, make us a theme song.
Yeah, we don't like this music.